Hi, in this tutorial we're going to look at adding apps in your Google Drive environment. Now there are a number of places to do this, but let's start with the simplest. If you click on New, you'll notice that you can create Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, etc. here, Forms, Drawings, and then there are several that you may not see on your own screen, and that's because I've added these. I've added them through apps, so let's go see how to add an additional app. We're going to go to Connect More Apps, and it will bring you to the App Store. So all sorts of options available here: Doc Hub, Mindomo. Okay, quite a few things to choose from. I can also use this as a filter if I wanted educational or entertainment or some other filter placed on them. So there we go. Or I can search for them. So let's just say formulas and do a search. And great, so these are this text equation editor here allows you to easily type formulas in Google Docs. That would be a little more difficult if you didn't have the app. So I'm going to connect it up. It's a 4-star. I can see that it's rated. Probably some others in there as well, but let's connect this one. Okay, so that was connected to my Google Drive. And I do have the option of rating it here. Anything that has Rate It next to it when you come to the store is something that's already installed on your machine. So you do have the option of rating it if you'd like to be part of this process. But for right now, I'm going to cancel. Now if I come into New and back to More, you notice that the equation editor is now amongst my apps. So that's one way to go find and install apps in the Google Drive environment. Another way is to come to the gear, and we've looked at this in a previous video, go to Settings, Manage Apps, and you'll see that your apps are listed in here, including Equation Editor. Now, if this is something I find that I like, but I only use once in a while, I can uncheck the box, and it's still available to me. It's still in there, but I'm going to have to recheck the box in order to have that available to me. Something to note, I've been noticing recently actually that as some of the students have been using Chromebooks and maybe had a little bit of time where they had some free choice, we've seen some accidental installations of some things we really don't want on a Chromebook. Some apps that are basically ad trackers and ways to present you with pop-ups or kids with pop-ups, etc. So if you see that activity happening on a Chromebook or even in Google Drive somewhere, they may have accidentally been somewhere and accepted an extension. So if that happens, simply come in and disconnect it from your drive. So something to keep an eye on. Let me disconnect this for the moment. And that's all there is really to adding apps. Now there is a third thing that you should know about. Let me demonstrate in Google Sheets. So I'm going to open up an existing Google Sheet, and this is just a survey, but let's pretend for a moment that this was a quiz that I wanted graded. There's an application out there called Flubaroo, and I'm aware that Google has recently released their own quiz grader, or own ability to grade quizzes right within Forms. But Flubaroo gives you a couple of options that you might not have in other cases, so it's at least worth looking into. You know, at some point it may become obsolete, but right now it's at least worth a look. So if I had been in my drive and I go to Connect Apps, and someone's told me about this great app called Flubaroo, I'm not going to find it. And that's because it's something that only works with Google Sheets. So if I was actually in a Google Sheet and went to Add-ons and Get Add-ons, looks like exactly the same window. But you can see now it's available. So be aware that sometimes as an add-on, if something only applies to a very particular environment, you may need to be in that environment to install the app. Oh, that concludes our tutorial on working with apps in the Google Drive environment. There are a lot of them out there. You can do some searches and some reviews both within that installation environment and just on the net in general. There's something really well worth exploring because it can be very useful and a good addition to your arsenal of tools in Google.